Welcome to the video. So in today's video, we're going to be talking about how to acquire more customers as a chiropractor. If you don't know who I am already, my name's Steven. I run a marketing agency to help high ticket services acquire more customers and build out predictable customer acquisition systems. And today we're going to be talking about how we do that for chiropractors. So this is our sales funnel. I'm going to go through each stage of the sales funnel individually so you can see exactly how I do it. I'm literally going to give you the offer, the creatives, the type of content I would make, the automations, everything that I would do in this funnel. You can literally copy everything that I say in this video and just implement it into your business. So the first thing we're going to talk about is your actual traffic source. I would focus on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok ads. And the reason why is because it's very, very easy to show what your service does on these platforms. You can go to other places, but it obviously depends on your market and where people are actually purchasing. But I will tell you, a lot of people, I've done this a bunch of times in other adjacent industries, a bunch of people are going to purchase from these platforms for cheaper. So I think you'll have a lot easier time on Facebook, Instagram, or TikTok. Now, the offer that you're going to want to put out there is a free or a very, very cheap back adjustment. Okay, so the offer is a free or very, very cheap back adjustment, specifically like $20 to $40. And then when you're making your ad creatives, this is the actual content that your customer is going to see. These are the different types of content that you should create. So you need to create the back adjustment in action. So you actually want to do the back adjustment and have people see that like in the ad. That is a great piece of content for this. The next one is yap maxing. That's what the kids call it these days. Basically, it's where you just talk to the camera about a concept for a period of time. It works very, very well. It works very well for my clients right now. So you can just yap max and talk about why getting a back adjustment is important for you, why you should maybe get it done or get it taken care of, things you didn't know about, your back and your health that maybe could be benefited by getting a back adjustment. And then the last one is an actual client testimonial. So maybe having someone say like their experience after they got the back adjustment, right? Emphasize that noise, the back cracking noise. Make sure you emphasize this noise because this is what's going to get people to feel pain and then they're going to want to get it alleviated. So as soon as they hear that noise, immediately, like even just thinking about the noise right now, I want to go get my back adjusted, okay? So emphasize the noise, right? And then if you already have some, use the content that's already working. So if you have content that you're already putting out there, if you're already putting stuff on TikTok and Instagram, just use what's already working. And then I would just add an offer and a call to action and potentially like a hook as well, right? Just literally in text. So say you already have content of this back adjustment in action, right? I would just add the offer. So I would just say, get a $20 back adjustment. And then I would put the CTA, click the button below to get started. And then add some ideas for the hooks. So I would start by saying something like, does your back hurt? Or attention to your audience. So attention Nashville or attention Murfreesboro or attention Cincinnati, whatever. And then the next one would be a did you know? So did you know that if you get your back adjusted, then this thing will happen, right? It's kind of like an if-then play on the hook idea. You could say something like, did you know that if you get your back adjusted, then you could have a 10% better sleep tomorrow, right? Those kind of things matter to your ICP. If you understand your ICP, if you've been doing this long enough and you know what gets people to buy, you can speak directly to that person with a did you know hook. And then finally, client telling the story. So like if the client's telling their experience, testimonial of the client saying, oh, I came into Dr. Tanya's office and I got my back adjusted and it was the greatest experience ever and it changed my life and here's why, right? And it actually shows the creatives in the background. So now you have your offer, now you have your creative. That is just the first step. That is how you get people into the sales funnel. Let's go ahead and get to the consideration phase. So first thing that I want to mention here is that you're going to use a landing page with a survey form, okay? Understand, I'm telling you, I've done this before. Use a landing page. Do not use a lead form on Facebook. Use a landing page with a survey. This is like the most important part right here. if you take anything from this video and you decide to actually put this into your own practice, understand that you need to do these things right here. You need a landing page and you need a survey. This is going to get you a higher conversion, okay? And then make sure that the survey is easy to start and then move to harder questions. I'm telling you, like, this section right here is the most important. So, like, make sure you don't forget any of these steps here. Make sure the survey is easy to start and then move to harder questions as the time goes on. This is why the offer is so good. When you have a good offer, people are more likely to stick around for your survey. They're more likely to jump through more hoops when you have a good offer. If you're giving away a free back adjustment or a $25 back adjustment, which essentially is free, like, let's just be honest, it's not that much money, right? When you have an offer like that, people will do more. Okay, so understand, the better that your offer gets, the more people are willing to do, the more hoops people are willing to jump through to get the actual thing. Okay, and so this is why we start with easy questions and then move to harder ones, because they get the easy questions at first. Like on 1 through 10, how does your back feel right now, right? And then you move to harder questions where they have to actually give short answer responses. They have to actually tell you what kind of pains they have, and it gets more difficult as time goes on. And the thing is, they've already committed. They've already made an investment. But you want to ask like roughly about 5, maybe even up to 10 questions. Again, you can lower this because it's not too serious. But the reason I tell you to do this is because we're actually going to try to take payment up front before they even have a conversation with the person. So again, there's a lot of testing involved with this. So you might have less questions or want to add more questions. But since you have an offer that is basically a no-brainer, people are going to do more work. At the end, this is where you ask for the contact information. So ask for the contact info last. You do not ask people for their contact information first because they don't want to give it to you. Okay? That's a lot to give someone your contact information. But if you were going to answer a form with 7 questions or a survey with 7 questions, and then you ask me for my contact information, I'm probably going to give it to you at that point because it's like, all right, whatever, right? And now you can use this as a lead magnet, even though technically our offer is already a lead magnet. But you can use this as another lead magnet. You can have an AI send them a free summary based off of the survey that they submitted. So we'd send them the survey to their email, and you can even make a point about that on the landing page. Get your free audit or get your free summary sent to your email right now of, you said you had this problem, and this problem. These are some things that you can do to take care of them. This is why you need to come into our office and let us take a look at it. Or, you know what, honestly, it sounds like you're okay, right? But before the AI even gives them the free summary, so before it even gets sent to their email, you're going to just send them straight to the booking page. This is literally the easiest way to acquire clients. I don't know why people don't do this more often. When you're giving away something for free or something for cheaper, you just send them to the booking page before they actually get the free thing. Always give them the opportunity to push to the next step first. So you send them straight to the booking page, and that is the consideration stage. The next stage is the actual sales stage. So this is where they're going to book the appointment, and then after they fill in their information, once their appointment is booked and they tell you like what time and they give you their contact information again, then you're going to send them straight to the payment page. Now, you can A to B test payment versus no payment, so you can try to send them to a payment page versus not send them to a payment page. But you could also do this if you don't want to test like multiple different landing pages or different sales funnels. You can just let everyone book, and then if they don't purchase, you can have an SDR call them, or your salesperson call them and have a conversation and then ask them for the payment over the phone before they show up to the appointment, right? Still send them reminders. Obviously, it depends on your show rate, but you can give someone the opportunity to pay up front or not pay at all, okay? Or wait until the appointment. Say they forgot to pay on the actual appointment page, then they can show up for your appointment and purchase them, right? So now we've gotten that part taken care of. Let's talk about the actual conversation you're going to be having once they show up in the shop. So always, always, always ask to book and pay for follow-up appointments, memberships, and other products. Okay, so once the customer is in the door, we always ask them to book and pay for follow-up appointments every single time. There's no reason why they shouldn't be. The receptionist, every single time they're leaving, needs to be asked, hey, we see that you're done. Let's go ahead and get you actually, and I wouldn't even ask. I would just say it. Okay, I've never had a time where I've like gone to the dentist before. I don't know why I've just thought of the dentist, but like I've gone to the dentist my entire life, and I've never had the dentist one time say, "Hey, do you want to schedule another call?" They just say, "Okay, let's get you scheduled for your next appointment." That's exactly what I would say. I wouldn't even hesitate. I would just say, "Let's get you scheduled for your next appointment." You know, you have to check out before you leave. They come to the front desk. Hey, let's go ahead and get you scheduled for your next appointment, for your next adjustment, right? And then you get them scheduled, and then they either just pay for the next one the next time they come in, or you can get them to pay for like memberships or other products that you offer or services that you offer, right? Now, the other thing, and I would put this all over your store, is to bring a friend and you'll save 50% on your next adjustment. This is a fire offer. I've done this with a couple different industries, specifically the one I'm thinking of right now. I did this with a barber one time, and it absolutely killed. Okay, I just 50% off if you bring a friend. That is an amazing deal. If you can do it for like this cheap, right? If you can keep it kind of within the same limit, or even again, you can change this out for whatever you can give away without feeling weird about it. Another thing I want you to understand here is that you use the word save instead of get off, right? So instead of saying get 50% off, it's save 50%. They feel included in the savings, right? Instead of getting a discount. Now, the next thing you're going to do is go ahead and add people to a text or an email campaign to continue following up. So you're going to want to keep in contact with them. I would even say have your salesperson call them like at least once a year if they're not coming back, right? You should be having conversations with these people all the time, right? And so you can either build out a bigger sales team, or you can have a CRM that tracks and manages all this stuff and sends out follow-ups via AI and automation, right? And then another idea that I had was I would post them on Instagram. So I would tell people, hey, if you let us post you on Instagram, we'll give you other stuff, or you'll get other like percentages off of things, or just any other deals that you have. And then if they repost, right? So you post them on your Instagram, and then if they repost it, they'll get like some sort of savings, discount, whatever too, right? Now they feel like they're a part of the family. And that's what this is all about. And so if we're looking at our sample numbers, say the special is $25 to get the back adjustment, and your cost per lead is $25 to $50. Your appointment booking rate is 40 to 60%. Your customer acquisition cost would probably be anywhere from the range of $80 to $120. And then the lifetime value of that customer, depending on your sales ability, would be $1,000 to $2,000 plus, right? And so your return on the entire thing, not your return on ad spend, but your ROI on actual advertising, because of your customer acquisition to lifetime value ratio, if these remain the same, you would be seeing a 10x plus, okay? If I acquired 10 customers for $80, that's $800. And if every single one of those people spent $1,000 with my business, then that would be $10,000. We would be making $10,000 for $800 in ad spend. And so here's the thing that you have to understand is that you have to be prepared to acquire customers at a loss. Not because that's just how Facebook ads work, but because that's how big brands do this stuff. All of this stuff we went over here, this is about turning them into family. This is about turning your customers into people that want to come back and advocate for your business. All right? It's about how much is a customer worth in your business over a long period of time, not how can we get a return on our ad spend today. This is why I did not add return on ad spend in here, because I don't like this metric. A lot of people want to talk about return on ad spend. That doesn't really mean anything. What actually means something is the lifetime value to customer acquisition cost. If it costs you $80 to acquire a customer, but that customer spends $2,000, or if, say, we spend $1,500 on ads, but over the course of the next year of the customers we acquired with that $1,500 that we spent on ads, you make $30,000 off of that $1,500, like the customers you acquired from that $1,500, then it was worth every single penny. But if the return on ad spend might be in the negative for the first couple of months. But this is why it is so important to have good staff, good employees, have good sales skills, and be able to get people to feel involved and make them feel like they're part of a family when they come into your clinic. That is why we add these things, like if you bring a friend, you can save percentages. And we send them texts and emails and catch up with them. And we post them on Instagram and we follow them on Instagram and we ask them to repost our stuff. Because when you do this, you are building a culture around your brand, and you are not just the chiropractor down the street, you are the chiropractor of your town. And then the other pro tip that I wanted to mention before we end the video is that you can just bake your customer acquisition cost or cost per lead into the offer. So for example, if I put cost per lead because it's easier with this, like cost per lead, if it's $50 to acquire a lead, you can just make your offer $50 for the back adjustment. Or if you really want to be greedy, and it's completely fine if you don't want to acquire customers at a loss because you have a fear to do that, like that's completely fine. Then you can just charge, if your customer acquisition cost is $80, then you could just charge $80 for the back adjustment. However, I would totally be okay with acquiring customers at a loss, and you should be too. But yeah, again, like I said, if you're worried about it, you can ultimately just bake it in. And this is what you should be doing. You should be baking in as much of the actual cost to acquire a customer into the initial service. Now, if you're looking at this and you're like, this is awesome, I would love for you to do this for my business, and you're a chiropractor, I can totally do this for you. Click the first link in the description, book an appointment with me. And then if you want me to do this same kind of thing for a different business model, I would absolutely love to do that. Just let me know in the comments if you think there's another business model that I should build something like this out for. And even if you run a different business model and you think this is sick right here, I have plenty of ideas. I've done plenty of other things for other industries just like yours. Click that first link in the description, book an appointment with me, and I can set up a similar funnel for your business. Anyway, hope you enjoyed the video. Have a wonderful day.